All right, got it.
Woohoo.
All right. Are we good, Rebecca? Good. I'd like to call the meeting of the Albany Public Library's Personnel Committee to order. I would like to open up board docs so I know exactly what I'm supposed to say. To begin with, I'd like to acknowledge our attendees. I'm Jenna Patera. I'm the chair of the Personnel Committee. And with us, we have Thomas McCarthy, Sarah Shearer, Interim Director Melanie Metzger, and our, what is your official title? Our Administrative Assistant, Rebecca Delgaiza. I'd like to take a moment to see if we have any public comments.
The committee has not received any public comments. If anyone from the public wishes to make a public comment, you are asked to send an email to publiccomment@albanypubliclibrary.org or leave a voicemail at 518-290-6905. Please leave your name and address to identify yourself, and public comments are read during the designated times.
So no, Teddy. Sorry. So we do not have any unfinished business at this moment. So I'd like to move on to our new business, where we identify the job descriptions that we'd like to work with our civil service department at the city on hopefully adjusting, and take a look at what proposed changes we would like to have in those descriptions. So we so helpfully have a Google Doc available to us in our in board docs. And if we can make this kind of a working meeting, I'd love to kind of get something. I'd be happy to, after we're done here, send a meeting to, or send an email with a number of these issues to our friends at Civil Service.
Are you going to share your screen? Who wants?
Oh, I'll share my screen. That is a great, thank you. I just sort of went to it in my head, but not with all of you. Okay, so do I have screen share capability?
It'd be on the bottom. Where's?
I will figure it out. I'm sorry, I'm a little frantic. I do. It's been a day. Okay, so here we have kind of some general questions that we as a board have about job descriptions that seem a bit outdated. Physical condition commensurate with the demands of the position. We really feel that's unnecessary. Is there anything else we wanted to add here for sending to civil service? I mean, I think that just what we'd like is that maybe we identify. So here's what I want to ask folks, because it's been a while since we had this talk and I'm forgetting. Do we want to send like a couple specific job descriptions with issues? I think that's what they wanted, right? Rather than general issues.
I believe that's what we talked about with civil service last week.
Yeah.
I think they want us to send them the track changes document of the description, and they'll approve it when they meet.
Okay. So do we want to grab an actual description right now? Like for instance, the account clerk position, right? We've had a lot of issues with that one. But like business English, we didn't like.
Yeah, give me one second.
You know what? Rather than doing this in a public meeting, or I mean, everything should be above board in public, but I would be happy to take on, if we as a group identify 2 positions right now that we would like to update the language of. I have kind of the general feel for what we as a group want to update. So I'd be happy to take on doing that track changes and then sending it to the group as kind of a takeaway.
That would be awesome.
Okay. So do we want to identify, I know that one of our first big deal issues is the part-time clerk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to start with part-time clerk as the one we do track changes with?
So the clerk position in and of itself, it's not differentiated, I think, with the job spec between clerk and part-time clerk, other than just the hour part of it. So those two positions, I think, can be handled at the same point. With the part-time clerk, we're just asking that they make it non-competitive so we can hire directly. That's like the only other change that differentiates.
Okay.
But I think that the spec in and of itself has some of these issues that we want to.
So I think that that's a great one to begin with to send to them. So why don't I will start the document. It's available publicly, right?
Yeah, it's on the City of Albany's website.
City of Albany website. And I will share with the group in a Google document after starting sort of tracking changes of some issues. And you guys can say yay or nay, and then we can work on an email to civil service. I'm just writing things down because when I promise things, if I don't write them down, I forget I promised them. And then let's identify one more position to do this with at the interim. I'm just reading this. I mean, do we want to do it with library director? Because that's something that's pertinent.
Well, so as it's stated on this document here, maintenance manager and library director are positions that are listed on the website. The Albany County website, they're on the listing of job specs, but we don't have those positions open. So maintenance manager is now our facilities manager. We rewrote the job spec. And same with library director. It's not library director anymore. We utilize the job spec for executive director.
Yeah.
Those I would leave as is for now until we feel the necessity to utilize those. And as per the conversation we had with civil service to answer some of our questions, they said, while we can remove them, if we were ever to use them again, we'd have to go through the whole process of reinstating them, and it would be time consuming to get that done. So they said, just leave those there, and they can just be, they're there, but we just don't utilize them currently. And then should we ever need to reinstate them, we can make the modifications at that time, and it would be a 1 month process versus a several month process.
All right. I think that, so we're ignoring those two positions. Do we need, would account clerk be a good one then, since that has a lot of the outdated language that okay.
That one would probably be very beneficial.
Okay, so here's what I'll do. At the close of this meeting / tomorrow, I will start the ball rolling with the track changes documents in Google Docs for this group to look at and approve to send an email to civil service. And then we also need to, they already are getting the ball rolling, right? On the clerk issue.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know there was a question about how many times we pull the clerk list in any given year. And it's usually about 8 times a year. They said it's usually between every 6 to 7 weeks.
Oh God, so many times a year.
Yeah, it's our highest turnover position.
Yeah. Do we need, okay.
And actually, similar to policies, do we need to get board approval before we send to civil service if we're changing the positions?
I would do so, yeah. I believe that
Yes.
would be the case.
So we do happen to have a meeting next week. I know Melanie and I have talked, and there may be a couple other things coming onto that agenda. But if we're only looking at 2 positions, I think that could hopefully be a quick addition, and we'd be able to still get it turned around to civil service.
That would be.
Yeah, not to bog us down with mechanics, but like if we don't have the check changes right now in this meeting, can we even make a recommendation to the full board without having to work?
Oh,
I think if it's discussed, I mean, you guys are just, if we have the discussions here and nothing is added that isn't discussed in this meeting, it's just creating the document. Because think about it, if we were in person, we wouldn't be having, you know, the document is usually where we discuss the changes and the document's created afterwards.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
I'm fine with it.
We're just
yeah.
in a
Well, and I
different
think 'cause
environment.
we're all on
virtual.
the same page, like we have discussed these previously, and we've
Yeah.
discussed the kind of changes we want, and it's just about bringing it to the board. And I'm assuming not at the budget meeting. I'm not encroaching on your budget meeting, Tom. At the next meeting, although
The March
ideally, so my next question, because Melanie appears to have a memory, whereas I don't, is they wanted us to attend, right? At least some of us, civil service hearing.
I believe that they want us to attend or be in attendance of the next commissioners meeting, just
Yeah.
primarily to clear up the conversations regarding removing the residency requirement temporarily for the library clerk.
Yeah.
They had approved it, but then afterwards they rescinded the approval just because they had a couple clarifying questions. But when we, brought up our reasonings behind it, the fact that the list is broken, we're having difficulty we have so many open positions currently with the Great Resignation, and we do have qualified applicants who just live outside of the city limits, but are still within
Yeah.
the region. They said they would probably, and the fact that we do plan on going back to it once we're in a better state, hopefully within the next
Yeah.
year, it is just a temporary removal of that residency requirement.
So I know, Melanie, they want you there. Would they also like members of the board there? And who among us? I can probably do it, but I wanna put it out there to the crew.
Do we know if they're meeting remotely or in person?
This is a good question.
And also, I forgot, they might have mentioned it in the meeting, date and time. Do we know like typically what day of the week they meet and what time it is?
It might, the
Like-
problem with this month, it actually might run into issues because I think it's the last Tuesday of the month, which is our board meeting night. So we might have a conflict. I have to see what the time is. I'm trying to see if their time is listed here.
Okay, last Tuesday of the month. I'd be willing to volunteer as tribute to go to civil services instead of the board meeting if we need it.
Let me see if they have that listed.
Obviously not Tom. But no, we need Melanie in both places.
Yeah, that would be the difficult
Did they
part.
say they need us at the next one? We couldn't go to the one after? We have
Yeah,
because we have to verify those questions.
We have to verify the reasonings behind removing the residency requirement is the only thing that they wanted us there for. If it is a conflict that we have our meeting the same night, I will see if they can submit our questions and we can answer them. Also, it's February 23rd. Okay. And 4 p.m.
4:30, I meant, sorry.
Okay. So thank you, Rebecca, for finding that. It will be difficult because I'm planning on being out of town that day. That's my time I'm taking off with my kids. But I could easily send somebody in my stead for that meeting if necessary. I know I've already talked to a couple of the heads of branches that are next in line for the succession plan. And they said either there are two of them who would be available that evening.
Okay. And you're saying it is in person?
I don't know.
Okay.
That was my next thing I was going to check.
On their website, it says due to the COVID-19 outbreak and the moratorium on public gatherings, meetings will be held via YouTube until further notice. So they're they're streaming it, but it doesn't indicate how they are actually conducting it. But obviously we can inquire.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys let us know, I would be willing to be at that one instead of the budget meeting if we had to have someone.
It's the night after our budget meeting.
Yes.
So,
okay. That's okay. Wait, I'm looking at it. Let me just make sure I'm not lying and I actually can do that.
Wednesday at 4:30.
4:30 Wednesday. Yeah, I could do it. And I can work with one of the heads of branches pretty easily. I think that's fine. If we need to. So would you folks be willing, if you have kind of a conversation open with them already, to follow up and just let us know where we have to be? Yeah, and then we'll do it. Moving right along. So I'm going to stop sharing, I think, because I feel like does everyone feel good about kind of where we are with our next steps with this? Okay. Pause share, stop share, share. And then I'm going to go to board docs and see what else I need to say. This is why I never agreed to be anything that has to run meetings officially. Do we need an executive session? No, right?
No, because it's not discussing, it's discussing just overall job specs. It's not discussing an individual.
Okay. Is there anything else that folks want to talk about, or should we adjourn, let everyone have dinner, and come back together once we've done this work? Not come back together, discuss further.
Are we going to make a motion to recommend those two to the board?
You can't, because you didn't change it.
Yeah, we don't have the language.
Yeah.
So if the issue is if we want to have anything to present to the commission next Wednesday, it would have to be voted on by Tuesday night, in which case we would have to have something to send to the board for full approval. If we wanted to wait until March to bring up the changes, but just address the questions regarding the residency requirement on the Wednesday, then we could potentially come back together sometime before the March meeting.
I think we might have to do that because didn't she say, didn't the civil service staff say to send it to them like 8 days ahead of time or something?
Yeah, so I don't think we can do it. And the other thing is I would we can get the language from Bob. I mean, generally I would say the motion would be that we're moving to recommend, I can make something up, recommend changes to position descriptions to be sent to the Civil Service Committee. But well, and we can, if we have the language, can't we make a motion as a committee on the floor of the meeting, or does that mess with Robert's rules? I'm looking at Sarah, but I don't.
Breakout room, can you do that? But then that's not recorded.
I think, and that's actually a good thought, Jenna. The committee, I don't think would be able to make a motion on the floor at the meeting because we wouldn't have approved it in our committee meeting. However, any one of us could make a motion and then second, just as trustees. So that could happen.
Okay, so that's an option. If we're all in agreement, then the official motion could come at whatever meeting we need it to come at. But since they need 8 days, I will work quickly, and then we'll talk about, we'll have a goal of hopefully having something for them for their March meeting. I am away in March a little bit, but we'll figure that out. Going to the Bahamas. Well, because I had COVID already. So like I got double COVID.
Congratulations. Good.
Oh, you deserve
All
it.
right. Anything else before, or should I take a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, no, just saying, I'll be more than happy to jump on and look at those track changes. But everything sounds good. Thank you, Jenna.
Good. I'm sorry for the rushed nature of the meeting, but I think it's good to just be task oriented and kind of like, I feel like we have work to do and we're on the same page about what that work is, but we want to be diligent as public officers to make sure it's out there what we're doing.
And with that, I'll motion to adjourn.
I will second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
And I'm sending an
Nay.
email to civil service to ask about, and I included you, Jenna, on it.
Thank
So
you
you're
very
aware.
much. Yeah, I'll work with any library staff I need to, and I'll be there. Especially if it's on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my good day. So
Awesome.
okay.
Thank you so much.